It's October 29th, 2024, and I'm going to call the regular meeting of City Council to order. If you could please stand and join Mr. Irie in a prayer, a moment of silence, and a pledge of allegiance.
Please bow your head for a moment of silent prayer.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ms. Buhite, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Tankersley?
Here.
Mrs. Sharpshire? Here. Mr. Cook?
Here.
Mr. Levitt?
Here.
Mr. Cox?
Here.
Mrs. Knight? Here. And Mr. Schmidt?
Here.
Thank you. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes of our last meeting? Seeing none, these minutes will stand as approved and written and distributed. Reports and communications, Mayor Hardman.
I have nothing new to add unless anybody has any questions or comments for me. We'll turn the floor over to all these great people here tonight.
All right, thank you. Safety Service Director, Mr. Lucas.
Just one thing, one piece of legislation before we get into another matter. Ordinance 2024-61E, Chief Nesbitt's here regarding a request for some additional police vehicles.
Thank you. Tonight I come before you asking for access or use of funds to purchase 3 police cars in advance of next year's budget. Currently the window for ordering vehicles is open, and we would like to take advantage of that so we can offset any delays or minimize them by purchasing next year's cars without delay. Thank you.
So the other matter is one of our own received a pretty darn cool recognition. So Lieutenant Howland and Chief Sutterman's here tonight to talk about that.
Hello, I'm just short little snippet of the African fire mission I've been involved with for probably about the past 8 years. I took my first trip to Nairobi, Kenya in 2017. We did a week-long firefighting academy there, and I taught the USAR section. It was extremely eye-opening. We also partnered with a couple other organizations, and we toured a lot of the less fortunate areas, and also the main fire station there. It was, I said, pretty eye-opening to the amount of equipment that they didn't have. I had a whole week-long training prepared, and once I got there I realized that I had to throw it all out the window because it was useless. They didn't have any of that available to them, so it was kind of on the fly. But like I said, it was a great experience, and since then I haven't been back, but I have been working locally as a logistics coordinator, so basically just making a lot of the runs around the state and around local departments, picking up gear that's donated, and which is still good, nice in the fact that, you know, I can meet up with people I've worked with in the past or trained with, and still stay in contact with them. But other than that, that's pretty much all I got.
I know your slides have more information than that.
Yeah, I was going to say the slides do have quite a bit of information. I mean, every year they have multiple trips.
They can't see the slides unless you go down PowerPoint.
Yeah, well, the AfricanFireMission.org has all the information on it of who we are, what we do. Has a lot of information on if people do want to sign up for a trip. We probably have about five to six trips a year. Next year, I know 2025, there's There's one to Malawi, one to Zambia, one to Kenya, and I believe there's one other that they're working on. But like I said, it's great because just like the time that I went, I met up with about 6 other departments around the country, a large group from St. Louis, and then a few people from the East Coast. Actually, a gentleman from Springdale went with me as well. And again, like I said, they're constantly sending things over there. We get plenty of donations throughout the year, so we usually send about 1 or 2 shipping containers over there a year, and then follow it up with sending a crew out there to teach.
Congratulations on another successful mission trip.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for representing Sharonville.
Yes, I appreciate it.
Thank you. Terry, do you have the slide of our mission? Yes, please. I'll end up watching a movie on this thing or something.
I could, yeah, okay. I didn't know which ones were on there.
All the ones you gave me.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah,
great.
you just
Okay.
want to arrow through.
The air. Okay. Okay. So just a lot of the local donations. I usually, whenever I go around or somebody drops off, I'll take a picture of them, and they get a care package. Usually with a coffee mug, a challenge coin from Africa Fire Mission, and we have coffee that we bring back, beans from Kenya. So we don't, we give those as a care package to any department that donates. So I have the chief there. This is our shipping container we have over in Westwood. This is the one we fill up about once a year. Usually, I think the last one we did was about 3 months ago, and that was well over 1,000 sets of fire gear. This was the last one we did about 2 months ago. Again, some other stations that donate. This is, I believe, I think this is, I can't remember, Delhi, I think. This is a larger department out in Indianapolis. And this is our small container that I haul around. Here's one of our former employees, Tim Gorey, at Evendale now. This is one of the fire engines that they have donated over there. Well, that's one thing that did kind of stand out to me when I was over there, is all of their trucks have fencing. You can't really see it in this picture, but there's fencing all around the windows, the side windows and the front, because they do have a lot of people that do throw rocks and things at them, mainly because of the a lot of distrust of government over there. So they have a large problem with people that will make things harder for them, make things harder for firefighters over there when they're just trying to do their job. This was the academy that we gave in 2017. This was the USAR class. This had 75 members sign up for the class, and they traveled all over from Africa. I think we had 6 people that traveled, I think, 4.5 days from car, train, and walking to get to this academy we gave. Yeah, so again, we probably can't see it really well, but these are the dots that they marked for where they came from. And this was our end of the week class photo. And that was it.
What would we do without you? This chief knows what the biggest thing.
Yes.
within the fire department, one of the things we have been living by this vision, mission, and core values statement now for about a year and a half. And we have a limited number of challenge points to give to those employees who really embrace the vision, mission, and values of the fire department, not just by saying it, by living it. And I think Scott has certainly done that. So with that, Scott, I'd like to present you a challenge coin. Scott has been around the fire department for a very, very long time, so he is, not just a coworker, he is family. And as such, I feel like I should let all these fine people know what we all realized. If you saw the Facebook post of Scott getting this award, they had him on a forklift, and everybody who knows him really well went, oh, we can't believe they let him do that, but they did. Scott, thank you for embodying who we are. We appreciate it. Thank you.
That's it this evening.
All right, thank you. My report, we have one regular council meeting next month. That's the 19th of November. We do have our budget session on the 14th of November. And that's it for my report. Clerk of Council, Ms. Buhite.
There is a public hearing set for November 19th regarding the zoning, the amendments to the zoning code change dealing with the vape stores. So that's November 19th, starting at 7 o'clock here in council chambers. November 19th.
All right, thank you. Auditor, Mr. Cunningham.
Good evening, everybody. We are 75% through the year, believe it or not. We have spent in our general fund only about 64% of that, of the budget, and the fire fund about 65%. So that is one of the reasons why our working cash is a little bit higher than normal. The other reason is that we had advances in the month of September, and $2 million of those advances came back to the general fund, and those were a result of some closing out of some grant funds. So that's another reason why our working cash is a little bit higher. So I think that's probably a good segue for me to hand it off to Mr. Irie in terms of our receipts.
Thank you. As Mr. Cunningham said, we're 75% through the year. Our revenue through the end of September is actually over 100% of what we budgeted for. So we're actually 110%, close to 110%. But of course, Mr. Cunningham noted that we had a couple advances come back, so that accounts for the 110%. So we're actually closer to 100%, which is still an amazing figure for 75% through the year. At this point last year, we were at 94% collected of the budgeted amount. So very, very good news there. The income tax is up year to date 7.33%. The motel tax is down 9.19%. And of course, our interest rates on Star Ohio and at Red Tree continue to do very well, given the interest rates nationally. So that's my report.
All right. Thank you. Law Director, Mr. Lippert.
Thank you. So there is an executive session on the agenda tonight. That was at my request. I am actually not going to make that request. That was related to Code 51 litigation having to do with the appeals court up in Franklin County, up in Columbus. So we did get a proposal from the Code 51 lawyer team, and it frankly did not come close at all to the expectation of council that had been discussed previously. So I am not making that request. I do not have anything else to report. If anybody has any questions, they can ask me now or later.
All right. Seeing none, thank you. This time we'll turn it over to Mr. Creech, Community Development Director. Annual report.
Good evening, City Council. Thank you. Good evening, City Council. Happy to be here to present our department's 2023 annual report. It's been delayed a couple times over the past year, but I think you'll find some interesting information in here. Mission statement of our department, I show this every year. I want to thank Ms. Hollingsworth, sitting here in the back, for joining me tonight and showing me some support. But she was actually instrumental in putting this together, and all of us in the department, it's something we strive for. And it's on placard there as you walk into the office, so we see it every day, as well as our customers that come in and visit us. So a little bit about the staff in our department. Right now, Donna and I are the senior employees. We've been there the longest serving. We do have 3 relatively new employees, and Gabe, Kimberly, and Randy have all celebrated their 2nd anniversary this year, so very happy with that. So with us being a very small unit, there's a lot of cross-training, so we pretty much know a lot about doing each other's jobs. We can take, if someone comes in, we can pick it up and take it maybe 50 to 70% through completion, maybe not always, but anything that comes in, someone is there to basically take the information and start working on a project, whether it's providing information or processing a permit, a scheduling and inspection, quite a few things. We also have, throughout the year, a couple of University of Cincinnati co-ops. We're always happy with those. They're very productive. We treat them basically as full-time employees while they're there, and they get a lot of great experience too, firsthand dealing with customers on a face-to-face basis. We deal with Board of Zoning Appeals, Planning Commission. Just a little bit about the Board of Zoning Appeals. So, yeah, they hear variances, requests, and appeals to the zoning code. That's our primary job. Last year, there were some changes. Mr. Pernick, who had been there for a couple of years, resigned, and we did get a new member, Mr. Kerrigan. It's been a great addition. He did serve 1 meeting in 2023, so that's why he got credit up there, but he's been there through 2024, so appreciate that. But we do have a vacancy. Ms. Cole did resign this year, so. Oh, and Planning Commission, that's unchanged. Planning Commission reviews applications for any development in the city that requires that they review it. Could be a rezoning, site plan, conditional use permit. Here we go. This is just a little bit about those 2 boards. In 2023, BZA had 37 agenda items. They did have a meeting every month. There was scheduled meetings. Both BZA and Planning Commission meet the 2nd Wednesday of every month. And as part of that, we always notify neighbors if someone's asking for any type of approval. So we mailed out about 258 notification letters. So obviously that generates a lot of phone calls or emails to our office. Planning Commission had 21 cases or items that they reviewed in 2023. They had 8 meetings. We did have a couple cancellations, and as part of that, there were 176 letters mailed out to abutting property owners. Going into the building permitting of what we do. So what you're looking at here, these are the 2023 numbers, and then I've got the 2022 numbers. They're in red just for comparison. And it's divided amongst commercial and residential development. So what you notice is 2023 was a big year for commercial development. So what that number there, 55.9 million, that's private investment money going into buildings or property. Could be new construction from the ground up, or it could be renovation of an existing building within the walls of that building. So you can see there was a good increase from 2022. Just going down the line, the revenue that we collect from permit fees also up 526 versus about 400,000 the year before. Inspections was a little lower, but depending on what the project is, maybe it doesn't require as many inspections. Electric permits, that's something we handle from an administrative standpoint. Those were up, and we actually collected $57,000 as a part of that. So that was up as well. Going over to the commercial side, that's a little more stable. So it did go down a little bit. There was one house that was actually built on Kemper Road in 2022, which was, I think the permit value was about $900,000, so we did have a spike in that year. Largest permit valuation. So these are, this is just to give you an idea of some of those large projects, just the top 12, there are many more. But what I've done here is I just underlined a couple projects. So the ones that are underlined, those are actually new buildings or an addition. So out of those top 12, 6 were new buildings. And like I was saying, a lot of that is just investment within an existing building, whether it's doing a new roof, upgrading the HVAC system, the electrical system, interior renovation, or adding equipment, conveyor systems. There's always work going on in Sharonville in different buildings because of our large industrial base, obviously. So this diagram here just shows building permits over a 2015 through 2023 trend. And this is a total combined building permit fees. And so these are the fees we collected. And I'm sorry, I can't read those numbers from here. But you can see that it is trending upward, which is a good thing. And like I said, that's combined fees. So it's a little over $500,000. So then we split it out and looked just at commercial. So we see, and obviously there's the dip from 2020, but since then it has been going up. And this is what you're looking at here. These are just commercial building permit fees that we collect in our office for projects. And then residential, again, sort of stable. And then I just wanted to run through a couple projects. These are just some things that we worked on in 2023 that we spent a lot of time with. We updated our flood protection ordinance. So obviously a lot of the city of Sharonville, especially the commercial industrial area, is located within the FEMA designated floodplain. So FEMA updated their maps and they made some changes to their code. So we were required, if we wanted to stay in good graces with FEMA and make sure that everyone that has flood insurance is still eligible, we have to abide by their changes. So that's something we did in 2023. We worked with the Ohio Department of Natural Resources on an ordinance for that. And I just got there a building there in the corner. That was actually a building addition at Brighton True Edge. They built a large accessory building in the floodplain. And I've got just a picture there. That was actually a flood vent that allows that building to flood. So flood waters can basically go through the building and out the other side, and it equalizes the pressure so the building wouldn't collapse. So it's just part of the new ordinance. And again, another project, and we're all familiar with this, they just had their grand opening. And this was in the presentation earlier, so I thought maybe I should put it in, but they just had their grand opening, so we're happy about that. It was a lot of work in 2023. And one thing about this project, I think it was a CarX and a title loan place before the owners purchased this property with the vision of creating this restaurant. Initially, they wanted to keep that building, so there was a little bit of time spent in 2023 where they tried to keep the shell of that existing building that was there, but ultimately they tore it down and built this building ground up. A couple of other projects, Crossroads Logistics on Chesterdale Road. That's a brand new project, large light industrial building, now the home of Ray Hamilton, as well as All Church out in the office park off E-Business Way. And what you're seeing there are just two images, the images that are typically presented to the Planning Commission when they review site plans. Those are renderings there that were created as part of the package that the Planning Commission reviewed. And then there on the right are the images of either the finished product or almost the finished product. Two other projects, Chase Bank, that's the last building that was built as part of the commercial development across from the Kroger. That was property. Portion of that was annexed to the city, and then we went through a PUD, plan unit development rezoning process for that a couple years ago. We got a Starbucks, a retail building. The Chase Bank was the last building, and the one there on the top was a vacant lot on Crown Point Plaza. And that was a retail building. So another thing I wanted to talk about, I don't know if anyone here drives an electric vehicle, but we do have electric vehicle chargers now out at the Sharonville Convention Center. So they went fully operational in late 2022, so they've been up and running since 2023. So, and I have a program on my computer in the office, a dashboard. I can see who's charging, how much money they're spending, everything, and I can print out all kinds of interesting graphs and data. So that graph there at the bottom that says sessions, that's for the entire year of 2023. So if you look at that closely, what you notice is you get a lot of charges on the weekends when people are staying at the hotels or their events at the convention center. So it'll be interesting to check that, especially at the end of this year, 2024, because there has definitely been an increase in 2024. Mill Creek Triangle Trail, that's a project I think most of you are aware of. City Council allowed us to participate in this project. So it's a joint project with multi-jurisdictions, and we contributed funds to that project as well as those other communities listed there. It's to work with Tri-State Trails on developing basically multi-use trail or pedestrian connections between Glenwood Gardens and Sharon Woods Park and all the intersecting communities and points of interest. I think I emailed City Council an update, a draft of this, so if you want to take a look at that. If not, I can provide you a copy of it, a hard copy as well. We have checked in with the Planning Commission a couple times over 2024 on the progress of this project just to get their feedback. But this project will be wrapping up and ultimately presented to the Planning Commission for their review and approval, and maybe City Council as well, because if this plan is adopted probably through a resolution by City Council, it will obviously help down the road. We have an adopted plan and we use that as a justification to apply for a grant to do any work. And then we turn to code enforcement. So for 2023 and the 2022 numbers there, so 699 cases versus 729 in 2022. And how are those cases broken down? There are a number of codes we enforce: zoning, the International Property Maintenance Code, as well as our codified ordinances. There's a section in there about high weeds and grass and some health things that end up on our plate. But and they're broken down there. So you can see the trend line there of total code enforcement cases going back to 2017 and how it's just been going up. And there is active, we receive complaints as well as there's active going out looking for issues, because typically if you get a complaint, you go out to investigate it, you may find a complaint on the way there or on the way back to the office. Some additional activity: if someone doesn't comply, the next step is Sharonville Mayor's Court. So there were 29 cases in 2023 that did go there. At the end of that, all those cases were resolved. Donna works with Mike Mathis as well as the fire department on doing hotel quarterly inspections, the winter and the summer. Violations are found. Those were taken care of last year or in 2023. And another fun thing doing that Donna does with the co-ops, and we all participate sometimes if we're able, is to go out and pick up temporary signs from the right-of-way, which is always, can be interesting and challenging too. It just depends on what intersection it is. And now I just wanted to talk about OOPS reports. That, if you don't know what that is, that's Ohio Utility Protection Services. It's a service where people call and basically have utilities marked underground. So we get notification, and a lot of times we discover people are building things, installing fences, and we're able to intercept them, communicate with them, hey, you need a permit for this. So we meet them on the front end, and it's just easier for everyone. And that is the end of my report. And have any questions? We thank you for your support.
Well, thank you and your staff for doing such a great job. It doesn't go unnoticed with the planning, the permitting, and the enforcement. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right. time, are there any residents desiring to be heard before council this evening? Just come to your podium and state your name and address for the record, please.
John Gomez, 30 East Broad Street, Columbus, Ohio. My name is John Gomez. I'm the Southwest Regional Liaison for the State Treasurer's Office. I was in the area today, so I wanted to come by and give you guys a brief update on everything going on in the State Treasurer's Office, which on its surface might not sound super exciting, but I promise you we do some fun things. But I'll get the boring out of the way first. So on the less exciting side of things, the government side of things, we offer 2 programs. Star Ohio, like the treasurer mentioned earlier. Star Ohio is doing very well. We surpassed $1 billion in interest generated for local governments just a few months ago this year. So doing very well, earning a lot of money for our local governments here across the state. We also offer the Ohio Market Access Program, which is another program where, you know, I always say STAR is to help you guys make money, OMAP is to help save you guys money. So what OMAP is a bond program where if you have any projects that are bond projects, you're able to utilize the state's credit rating to lower the borrowing costs on those. So it's a program that, as interest rates have remained high, has been very popular. We've helped save local municipalities anywhere from, you know, a couple $1,000s all the way up to $150,000 in interest. So if there's ever interest in that sort of program, feel free to let me know, and happy to get you in contact with the right people in our office. So now to the more fun side of things. So this is what I call the consumer side of what we do in the Treasurer's Office. Earlier in January, we launched a program called Ohio Homebuyer Plus. And what Ohio Homebuyer Plus is, it's a enhanced savings program for Ohioans looking to buy a house. And how it works is if you're at least 18 years old and want to buy a house here in the state of Ohio, you go into any of the participating financial institutions and say, hey, I want a Homebuyer Plus account. Say, great. You'll get whatever the savings rate is from that financial institution, plus another 2.6% on top of it from the state treasurer's office, plus every dollar you contribute to that account is income tax deductible for your state income tax. So we've seen savings rates basically anywhere from 6.5%, all the way up to 7.75%. And it's a program that's obviously very popular. It's gotten very popular. So when we launched, we had 0 accounts, obviously, and we had about 8 financial institutions on board. Right now, we're at about 20,000 accounts across the state, and we're, by the end of the year, going to have over 130 financial institutions on board. So it's grown very quickly, almost too quickly, but it's grown very quickly here across the state. And individuals have, when they have a Homebuyer Plus account, they have 5 years with the account, and they're able to save up to $100,000, and they just have to use it for down payment or closing costs for primary residents here in the state of Ohio. So other fun benefits of it, employers are able to contribute to these accounts as a pre-tax benefit for their employees. Excuse me. So we view that as a great recruitment tool for our employers here in the state. And also family members are able to contribute up to $5,000 every year to an individual's account for an income tax deduction themselves. So if you have a kid or a grandkid and they have a Homebuyer Plus account, you're able to give them up to $5,000 every year, and you get a nice income tax deduction for that yourself. So that's one of the more fun things we have out of the treasurer's office. We also operate a program out of our office called Stable Accounts. Have any of you heard of those before? So what stable accounts are, they can be checking, savings, or investment accounts for individuals with disabilities here in the state, or actually nationwide. So the way federal law works is an individual with a disability, if they're on benefits like Social Security or Medicare, Medicaid, they're only allowed to have about $2,000 in assets before they start losing those benefits. So a stable account is a legal way around that limit, and an individual with a disability with a stable account is able to save up to $31,000 a year without losing any of those benefits. So that's broken down into about $18,000 kind of as the baseline, and then another 13 and change if that individual has a job. So it's one of the more, I would say, fulfilling things we get to talk about in the treasurer's office. It's helped a lot of individuals live fulfilled lives when, before the program was, created, they probably wouldn't have been able to have that sort of ability. So when Treasurer Sprague took over in 2019, we were at about 3,500 stable accounts. Right now we're closing in on 45,000. So program's grown massively. We've also, to help grow it even further, For any Ohio residents that are interested in a stable account or interested in opening a stable account, there's a $25 minimum deposit to open one. For Ohio residents, we're now matching that. So it's now essentially free to open up an account. We've also done a lot of work to lower the fees on the accounts. So previously, I think it was about $45 was the yearly fees on the stable account. Right now, we're down to $15 for Ohio residents, and our goal is to get that down to $0, which we're well on the way to do. So it's a great program. We also work with a lot of employers to help set up direct deposit for their employees. So we do that from, it could be county government, local government, to individual employers. We like to help set them up, help get them set up with direct deposit for stable accounts. So if they're employing anyone with disabilities, or if they're employing anyone whose child or, they have guardianship over has disabilities, we're able to help set that up for them as well. So those are two of the more exciting, heartwarming things we do in the Treasurer's Office. I also want to mention we do have a program coming next year at some point, we're waiting on the details, called Buckeye Business Advantage, which will allow individual small business owners to receive an interest rate reduction on loans they take out. So we're working on the details of that. Ohio Homebuyer Plus is kind of taking up a lot of the oxygen in the room, but we're working on that as well as a few other things. So with that, if you guys have any questions for me, happy to answer, and need some more information.
Any questions for Mr. Gomez? No? All good information there. Thank you very much.
Yeah, appreciate it. Have a good one.
You too. Any other residents? No, Mr. Schmidt. Okay. We'll have one more chance before the end of the meeting. All right. Council committees, community development, Mr. Tankersley.
Thank you, sir. The only thing I have to report is the next planning commission meeting and BZA meeting will be November 13th. BZA will start at 6:30 in these chambers, and following at 7:30 planning commission in these chambers. And thank you.
Thank you. Budget and finance, Mr. Cook.
Thank you. No report, just a reminder, the next Budget and Finance Committee meeting will be Tuesday, November 12th at 6 p.m. in the Administrative Conference Room, and the next Project Oversight meeting is still to be determined. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Community Services, Mr. Lovett.
Thank you. No report this evening. Next meeting will be on November 6th, 4 p.m., Administrative Conference Room. Thank you much.
Thank you. Honored citizens, Ms. Knight.
Oh, good evening. Tonight I'd like to honor all our Sharonville breast cancer survivors. Just let them know we're thinking of them, and remember to think pink. Also, October is Down Syndrome Awareness Month. I don't know if anybody knew that. Mrs. Sharpshear is wearing the shirt that gives us that. They want to let us know, everyone to know that with their abilities, they are capable of doing anything they set their minds to. And on a personal note, we had 6 or 7 swimmers, and they were awesome on the team. So this year, so they're it's great. Our other swimmers it's great. I just enjoy them so much. All right, thank you.
Thank you. Law and Public Safety, Mr. Schmidt.
Thank you. The next Law and Public Safety Committee meeting will be Tuesday, November 12th. That's the same day that Dave is giving his meeting at 4 p.m. in Administrative Conference Room.
All right, thank you. Rule suspension. Is there a motion for rule suspension for ordinance 2024-61-E? For the first, Mr. Lovett. Ms. Knight, thank you for the second. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, yes? Yes. Those opposed, no? Thank you. That passes. Unfinished business, Ms. Buhite.
Okay. Second reading of ordinance 2024-59, amending Sharonville zoning code regarding vape stores.
Thank you. Move on to new business.
All right.
Ms. Buhite.
First and only reading of ordinance 2024-61E, amending 2024 appropriations for the 401 Capital Fund and authorizing the Safety Service Director to purchase 3 police cruisers through state purchasing or equivalent pricing and declaring an emergency.
Thank you. Is there a motion for ordinance 2024-61-E. Mr. Tankersley, thank you first. Mr. Cook, thank you for the second. Any discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mr. Tankersley?
Yes.
Mrs. Sharpshire?
Yes.
Mr. Cook?
Yes.
Mr. Lovett?
Yes.
Mr. Cox?
Yes.
Mrs. Knight?
Yes.
And Mr. Schmidt?
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-61E has been approved.
Thank you. And at this time, are there any residents desiring to be heard before council? Mr. Schmidt, come on up. You know the routine.
Jim Schmidt, 12215 Pickwick Place. This is just a question I had. Is there only one meeting in November, the 19th? That's the only, okay. I just wanted to make that I understood that correctly. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. Two quick items. First of all, the budget hearing scheduled for November 14th, as we said. The goal is to get those budget books out by no later than November 7th, that Thursday before. We'll see if we can do a little bit better than that, but it's been a rough October here. So, also late this afternoon, I sent out some drawings and images, kind of showing the North City Hall renovation. And some proposed modifications that would be made kind of to the entrance to council to sort of open that area up. So those are in your inbox. I'm happy to kind of meet with anybody afterwards if they want to talk through these. So there's some pretty good pictures. They don't have the plastic trees from 1987, so that might make it hard to comprehend, but they're pretty good at kind of showing what that change would be. So nothing else. Thank you.
Any questions for Mr. McKeon? Right?
Yeah. We're amortizing those over 50 years with the building, but in the spirit of fall, the plastic trees have been losing a lot of leaves in recent years, and they may not hold up for the whole duration. Yeah. So.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you. Any other matters to be heard before council this evening?
I just have one more thing.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Last meeting, I informed all the residents about the community conversations for the Princeton School District tax levy. And there's one last opportunity to listen to the superintendent and what is going on with the district. This would be at the Springdale Recreation Center Tuesday, October 29th. Oh, that's today. So, you missed it.
Thank you, Commissioner, for the information. Any questions for Ms. Sharpshire regarding, yes, okay. Ms. Knight?
On that note, I just want to remind everyone to vote on Tuesday, if we haven't already voted. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other matters? Seeing none, do I have a motion for adjournment? Mr. Tankersley, thank you for the first. Ms. Sharpshire, thank you for the second. All those in favor say yes. Yes. Those opposed, no. Thank you. We are adjourned.